Students, how are you? Stay home, be safe always. Last class we discussed under the topic of electrostatics. In this electrostatics, we discussed introduction, and in that introduction, we discussed about the branches of electricity which deals with stationary charges is called electrostatics. And next topic we discuss historical background of electric charges. In this historical background of electric charges, the main point is if net charge is zero in the object, it is said to be electrically neutral. And there are two charges, one is a positive charge and negative charge. And finally, we got the solution, that is charging the objects through rubbing is called triboelectric charging. And next topic, basic properties of charges. Under this, we discussed three subdivisions. One is electric charges. In the electric charges, main topic is the SI unit of charge is coulomb. And second topic is conservation of charges. In this conservation of charges, we discussed total electric charge in the universe is constant, and the charge can neither be created nor be destroyed. In any physical process, the net change in charge will always be zero. And next, third topic is quantization of charges, that is Q equal to NE. And now we come to the second unit, that is 1.2 Coulomb's law. In this Coulomb's law, Coulomb derived this law in the year of 1786. Actually, in this law, there are two charges, Q1, Q2, which is separated by the distance r. Here, the charges are same charges means a repulsive force. If it is different charges means attractive force. So, one charge is extracted force on another charge. So, that much of force we have to calculate by the formula F21 vector equal to K into Q1 Q2 by R square into R12 cap. Here, the why we have to use vector form is from the Coulomb's law we derived the directions, and that's why we put vector form, that is F21 bar equal to K into Q1 Q2 by R square into R12 cap. This R12 cap is nothing but it is a unit vector. So, this is a formula for Coulomb's law. And this is charge Q1 is extracted force on charge Q2, and K is nothing but it is known as the proportionality constant. Here we have to see some important aspects of Coulomb's law. First aspect, the law, the definition of law. The Coulomb's law states that there is an electrostatic force, that is very important, electrostatic force. So, Coulomb's law states that the electrostatic force is directly proportional to the product of magnitude of 2 point charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between two charges. This is the first aspect. And second aspect, when the charge Q1 extracted a force on Q2, so that the R12 value is always negative, because the force which is created from Q2 to Q1, so the force is opposing to the direction of the vector form. That's why the my R12 value is negative. And next, third aspect, K value, K equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So, epsilon naught is nothing but it is known as the permittivity of free space. What is known as permittivity? The definition of permittivity is the ratio of electric displacement in a medium to the electric field strength. This is known as the permittivity of free space. So, epsilon naught is a permittivity of free space, and the value is 9 into 10 per 9 Newton meter square Coulomb to the power of -2. Here, the epsilon naught value equal to 1 by 4 pi k. Just we have to interchange. The total value of 1 by 4 pi k value is equal to 8.85 into 10 to the power of minus 12 c square n minus 1 m minus 2. And next, fourth point is the magnitude of electrostatic force between the two charges, 1 coulomb, and separated by the distance is 1 meter. Just we have to assume Q1, Q2 value is 1 coulomb and the distance is 1 meter. Now we substitute the value in force. Therefore, the vector form of the modulus of F is equal to 9 into 10 power 9 into 1 into 1 divided by 1 square. The total value is equal to 9 into 10 to the power of 9 Newton. So, this value of force is almost a huge quantity. Actually, it is equal to the weight of 1 million ton. Normally, in a practical life, we are not used. So that generally the charge value we are taken mu c, that is microcoulomb or nanocoulomb nc, like that we are used in our practical life. This is the fourth aspect. And then fifth aspect. Under the Coulomb's law, the force F21, which is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square R12 cap. And here the denominator is having E naught value, that is epsilon naught value is there. The epsilon naught is nothing but it is known as the permittivity of free space. Suppose instead of this epsilon naught permittivity, some other permittivity value must be substituted here. When we substitute some other value compared to E naught value, that value is greater. So, the E, instead of E naught value, some other permittivity when we are substitute, the denominator value is heavy. So, denominator value is heavy and numerator value is small, means the force is very lesser. So, that's why we said E, that is other permittivity of spaces, E value, epsilon value is greater than epsilon naught. The force between two charges in a medium always lesser than that of in vacuum. So that, suppose if you take the permittivity of free space in relative permittivity, ER is equal to E by epsilon naught. For a vacuum or air, the ER value is 1, and for all other medium, ER value is greater than 1. This is known as fifth aspect. Sixth aspect, Coulomb's law and Newton's law of gravitation, both there is a similar structure. Suppose if you take Newton's law of gravitation, F bar equal to minus g m1 m2 by r square into r cap. But Coulomb's law, F21 bar is equal to k into Q1 Q2 by r square into r12 cap. In this both in formula, the force which are inversely proportional to the square of the distance between it. So this is similar structure for both the gravitational force and the Coulomb's law. And next, some important differences between these two laws. What are the differences? Let us discuss. The gravitational force between two masses is always attractive, but the Coulomb's force between two charges can be attractive or repulsive, which are depending on nature of charges. So here the force in gravitational force is directly proportional to the mass of the two products. But in the Coulomb's law, the force is directly proportional to the product of the two charges. This is the first difference. So, because of that first difference we discussed, the two masses attractive, and in the Coulomb's force, the two charges are attractive or repulsive. And next, second point, the value of G equal to 6.626 into 10 to the power of minus 11 Newton meter square kg to the power of minus 2, G value. Here in the Coulomb's law, K value is 9 into 10 power 9 Newton meter square Coulomb to the power of minus 2. Usually, K value is greater than G value. Therefore, the electrostatic force is always greater than the gravitational force. Okay. And next point is the gravitational force between two masses is independent of the medium. For example, 1 kg of two masses are kept in air or inside the water, the gravitational force between two masses remains same. But in electrostatic force, that is in Coulomb's law, in electrostatic force between two charges depends on the nature of the medium in which the two charges are kept at rest. And the next point is the gravitational force between two masses is same whether the masses is rest or in motion. But here in this Coulomb's law, the charges, whether it is rest, there is as usual the force is created. But if it is in motion, there is an additional force of Lorentz force is created. And next point, the force Q1 is extracted charge on Q. Therefore, the force F12 is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square into R21 cap. Here, R21 is a unit vector from charge Q2 to Q1. But R21 cap equal to minus R12. So, instead of this R21 cap, we have to write minus R12. So, the equation becomes F12 equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square minus R12 cap. So, this is written as minus of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square R12 cap. So, this is known as the minus of F21 cap. So, from this, we can understand that the electrostatic force obeys the Newton's third law. And last, eighth point is, in the Coulomb's law, expression is true only for the point charges, because the point charges is an ideal concept. Suppose the distance between Q and Q2 or charge distances in between is finite distance, means we can take it as a charge as a point charge. Suppose if one charge is here, another charge is at the far distance, we are not measure the distance value, therefore we are considered the radii of the sphere. So this Coulomb's force is true only for the point charges. So in this chapter we discussed Coulomb's law, and the Coulomb's law definition, F21 equal to K into Q1 Q2 by R square into R12, and some of the important aspects we are discussed. And in the main thing, K value equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, and this total value is 9 into 10 power 9 Newton meter square Coulomb to the power of minus 2, and the epsilon naught value is 8.85 into 10 to the power of minus 12 c square n minus 1 m minus 2. And next we discussed about ER equal to E by epsilon naught, and the ER value is always greater than 1. And next we discussed G value is 6.626 10 to the power of minus 11, K value is 9 into 10 power 9, And finally, we discussed the electrostatic force obeys Newton's. Our next topic is superposition principle. What is known as superposition principle? The total force acting on a given charge is equal to the vector sum of forces extracted on it by all the other charges. So most of the problems which is based on this superposition principle, let us discuss the explanation of superposition. First, you can take charge Q1 and another charge is Q2 which is kept at the distance R21. Here the force extracted Q1 to Q2, therefore the force F12 equal to K into Q1 Q2 by R21 square R21 cap. Imagine there is another charge is there, that is Q3, which is kept at the distance from Q1 is R31. So here the force we have to write, that is F13 equal to K into Q1 Q3 divided by R31 square R31 cap. So next charge, it may be Q4, which is kept at the distance R41. So like that, when we are going to be write F14 is like that, K into Q1 Q4 divided by R41 square R41 cap, like that we have to write. By continuing the total force acting on the charge Q1 due to all the other forces is given by F1 total equal to F12 plus F13 plus F14 and so on F1n. So when we substitute F12 value from here and F13 value is here, F14 value is here. So all the values when we are substituting, finally we can get F1 total equal to K into Q1 Q2 by R21 square R21 cap plus Q1 Q2 by R31 square R31 cap, like that, and so on, plus Q1 Q2 Rn1 square R. So this is known as the superposition principle. Our next topic is electric field and electric field lines. What is known as electric field? Actually, according to Coulomb's law, the point charge is kept at a point in a space. Suppose if you take Q is a charge and another charge is Q naught, both are separated by the distance. So in between there is attractive force or repulsive forces experienced. This is called the action at a distance. So here the second charge Q naught doesn't know about the existence of the first charge. So here Michael Faraday introduced the concept of electric field. According to Faraday, every charge in the universe creates an electric charge in the surrounding space. If another charge brought near to the first charge, it experiences a force. This is known as electric field. Suppose if you take Q is a charge and Q naught is a point charge, the distance is R. Now, according to Coulomb's law, F equal to K Q naught by R square into R cap, which is equal to the K value. We know that 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, you substitute here. Therefore, the F vector equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q naught by R square into R cap. Now, the electric field we have to calculate. The electric field at a point charge Q, a force experienced by the unit charge. A force experienced by the unit charge. Therefore, E vector equal to F vector by Q vector. And what is known as F equal to K into Q divided by R square into R. Therefore, K value when we substitute 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square into R cap. Here, the R cap is a unit vector. The unit of electric field is Newton Coulomb to the power of -1 because in the numerator force is there, force unit is Newton, and denominator charge is there, charge unit is Coulomb. Therefore, Nc to the power of -1. This is the unit of electric field. And next we will discuss about some important aspects of electric field. Suppose if the charge Q is positive, the electric field away from the source, and if the charge Q is negative, the electric field points towards the source charge Q. And next, second point, in this electric field some force is experienced. How much of force is experienced, that we have to calculate. As already we know that is the formula for E vector equal to F vector by Q vector. Therefore, F vector equal to Q vector into E vector. Therefore, the force experienced in this electric field is equal to the product of electric field and the test charge. And next, the third point. In this third point, the electric field is independent of the test charge, but it always depends on the source of the charge Q. And next, fourth point. The electric field is a vector quantity and every point has a unique direction and the magnitude represented by the length of the vector. Because if there is a electric field is near the charge, there is a large amount of electric field is there. But actually the distance increases, the electric field decreases. So this is fourth point. And next, in the fifth point, according to the definition of electric field, usually we are taking point charge Q naught is sufficiently small value because it will not modify the electric field. And next, sixth point, the expression electric field expression is valid only for point charges because for continuous and finite size of distributions, the integration techniques must be used. And next, last seventh point is there are two kinds of electric field. One is uniform electric field and another one is non-uniform electric field. In this uniform electric field, the magnitude and direction is same, but non-uniform electric field, there are different directions and different magnitude. The electric field created by the point charge is basically non-uniform electric field. See the diagram. And this non-uniform electric field arises both the directions and magnitude when the direction being radially outwards or inwards, the magnitude changes as the distance increases. That is, when the distance increases, the magnitude is reduced. So, in this topic of electric field, we discussed first what is electric field, and next some important aspects of electric field we discussed.